Just a minute, guys. I'm sharing my screen. Just setting up the things.
Shamuk, I think recording is not running.
No, not yet, not yet. I'll start.
Oh,
Just a minute. I'm just setting up the things. You're able to see my screen, right, guys?
yes.
Okay. Let me record this. Right. Okay. So let's continue the session, guys, as discussed in the last session. So we'll slowly start with the technical things and all. Okay. So we'll discuss about the slowly we'll jump into the subject and then we'll discuss about the things, guys. Okay. So what is SQL Server, guys? Can anyone tell me what is SQL Server? What is SQL Server?
SQL Server is a database software which is
Correct.
store the data, process the data, retrieve the data.
Correct. Okay. So as discussed yesterday, I mean to say in the last session, today morning session, for us, so SQL Server is a database software. Using this database software, what we can do, we can store the data, we can process the data, and we can retrieve the data. So we are saying data, data, data. So what is this data, guys? What is meant by data? First of all, tell me. Can anyone tell me what is meant by data?
It's a raw facts and figures. It's called data.
Very good. Next. Next.
Data is the raw factors and the figures is called data.
Very good.
Raw information.
Very good. Good. So data is nothing but raw facts and figures. Okay. Anything, guys. Anything. Data can be anything. Data can be anything which is raw facts and figures, guys. So you can see on the screen that which is actually a raw data. Data itself is a raw format. It will be in the raw format. So it's a raw facts and figures. We can call it as a data. It can be anything. So now if you see this data on the screen, which is presenting on the screen, can you able to understand anything, guys, by just looking these figures? Can you able to understand anything? The names, figures, and all. You can maybe you can able to understand that just some values and maybe some names kind of thing you can understand. it doesn't have any meaning. Generally, data doesn't have any meaning until and unless if you are adding some entities, if you are adding some attributes. I'll tell you what is attribute and all, don't worry. Means giving meaningful to the data, you can call it as an attribute. So just raw facts and figures, we don't understand anything. Okay, if you see here, 10,000 Mahesh, correct, not in proper form. Very good, Subhashish. IT, Kyarpuram, and ABC apartments. Okay, 10,000 Mahesh, IT, Kyarpuram, and ABC apartments. Okay, so if you just look at this data, you don't know what is this 10,000. Maybe Mahesh is an Indian name. Okay, so maybe you can understand that. And we don't know what is this IT and all. And care from ABC apartments, maybe we don't know what is this care from and all. Okay, and ABC something like APTS means apartments, kind of shortcut. So if you add some meaningful to this data, it will be converted into what, guys? If you add a meaningful attribute to the data, it will be converted into
Information.
information. Very good. Okay, so data is different, whereas information is different, guys. See here, this is your information. So I just added some attributes. I just added some attributes like employee name. It's actually an employee record. So I just added some attributes, employee name, Mahesh, and he belongs to a department called IT, and his address is ABC Apartments, Kyarpuram. Kyarpuram is an area in Bangalore, and salary, the one that you saw, the 10,000 is the salary of the particular employee. So if you just look at these values, you don't understand anything. By adding these attributes, employee ID, employee name, department, address, and salary, by adding these attributes, so data has a particular meaning and all. So that is called processing, guys. What is that? Processing. Processing is nothing but what, guys? Adding attributes to the data is called processing. So if you process the data, that will be converted into dash. That will be converted into dash, guys. You can see answer on the screen. If you process the data, correct, it will be converted into information. The processed data is called information, guys. The processed data is called information. If you see here, just a minute, Windows Shift S, and if you see here, guys, or what we can do, snipping tool. It's taking time. Right. So if you see this, guys, able to understand anything by just looking at these values, guys? You are able to understand anything here? 51, 77, 58, 82, 64, 70.
No.
This is your data, guys. Okay, this is your data. So if you add some attributes to this data, you can convert this into information. That is called processing the data. So let's add an attribute. So what is the attribute here, guys? If you see here, we are adding on context. What is that context now? What is the context, guys? Test scores achieved by students. What are these things, guys, now? What are these values? This is actually a raw data. So when you add a context attribute, okay, when you add a context to these values, now you can able to understand these are all the marks achieved by the students. So when you got to know these are all the marks achieved by students, immediately what you will get in your mind, guys? What you will get in your mind? Highest marks, who got highest marks, who got lowest marks, and what is the average mark, and how many students are above average, how many students are below average. So many things we can process. That is called processing the data. Your database engine, whatever we are using, the SQL Server, okay, the SQL Server is mainly responsible for processing the data, storing the data, and processing the data. By adding some attributes, by adding context, we are going to process the data. So that is actually done by your SQL Server. Initially, the basic definitions, a lot of things it will do, but the basic definition. So SQL Server is a database software. So using this database software, we can store the data, we can process the data, and we can retrieve the data, guys. We can store, process, and retrieve the data. So now, where actually we are storing the data, guys? Where actually we are storing the data now, generally?
Server.
Nowadays, we are using servers, databases, and all. Before to the databases, where we use it to store the data, media. We can call it
drives.
as a media. Before the drives, where we actually use it to store the data.
In Excel.
Before the database, we have Excel format, right? Correct. So we use it to store the data in the form of Excel files. Now also we're using, depends upon the applications. Before the Excel sheets, before the Excel sheets,
Paper.
paper. We use it
Paper.
to, like, before, in between we have some flat files. Before the Excel sheets, we have
Notepads.
some flat files, notepads, and all. Those are called flat files. So before the computer, like, we don't have computer that time, like 1970s, 60s, and all. Where we use it to store the data generally. Papers, right? Papers and all. Before the papers era, before the papers,
Leaves.
leaves and all,
Leaves.
we used to store the data. And before the leaves, guys,
Stones.
correct. Okay, so see how it was transforming, guys, from stones to computer, and where we are storing the data. Now we are storing the data actually in the databases. In future, where we will store the data, we don't know. So the media is from stones, then cloths actually came on the cloth, also we used to store the data, then leaves, then papers, then computer came, then flat files, then Excel sheet. Excel sheet is also an excellent database. By using Excel sheet, we can store the data. By using Excel sheet, we can process the data. You know, right? Addition, subtractions, and all. We can do lot of things we can do in the Excel sheet. By using Excel sheet, we can retrieve the data. Then Shanmukh, we can use Excel sheet only, right? Why we are using these databases and all? As we can store the data, we can process the data, we can retrieve the data, and we can make beautiful reports using the Excel sheet. Using the Excel sheet, we can generate beautiful reports also. Then why we are struggling with the databases and all? Correct? So why we are using the databases, guys? So now
Uh,
also people are
for the
using
large
Excel
amount
sheets.
of
Yes.
data.
Correct. Correct. To process the large amount of data, Excel is an excellent database, but it is not compatible for the large amount of data. For suppose earlier when phone is invented, how much memory is there, guys, in the phone? Tell me, how much memory is there in the phone? Anyone remember that? Storage or memory?
16
Sorry, how much?
1 KB. 1 KB.
Something like 512 KB it started. Then 1024 1 MB phones came. Then 8 MB phones came. Then 64 MB phones came. Then 128 MB. Then 512 MB. Then 1 GB phones came into the market. Then 8 GB. Then 16 GB. Then 32 GB, 64 GB, 128 GB, 256 GB. Now we are using, some people are using 512 GB phone also. That time we used to store only contacts, so that whatever 512 KB is enough to store the contacts that time. And now, can you imagine, guys, even 128 GB is phone also just a peanut for us. How much data we are generating on a daily basis, guys? How the storage is evolving. So we ourselves using 128 GB, 256 GB, 512 GB phones also. That is also not sufficient. Every year we'll take the backup and we'll copy the things to the laptop, and again we'll clear the storage and again we'll use it. How much data is generating? How much data is generating, guys? So Excel is also an excellent database, but at present, whatever applications we are supporting, that to manage the data in a huge, like if you have a huge data and all, okay, that is difficult to manage the data using Excel sheets, guys. So that is the reason we have databases came into the picture. Okay, so database is a kind of a media where exactly you are storing the data. Correct? Now, in what format you are storing the data? You should know two things. Where you are storing the data, in what format you are storing the data. So generally in the databases, in which format the data will be stored, guys? In which format the data will
Tables.
be stored in the databases? Tables. In the form of tables. Tables means rows and columns, not two ones or two twos or four tables. Okay, rows and columns. Table, the data in the databases will be stored in the form of tables. Okay, so that's why we have to add one point here. SQL Server is an RDBMS software. What is this, guys? RDBMS. RDBMS means what? The
Relational database.
format.
Relational.
Correct.
Relational.
The format that you are using to store the data. RDBMS means the format that you are using to store the data is called RDBMS. What is RDBMS, guys? RDBMS means relational database management system. So what is this relational data? Before the RDBMS, we have DBMS concept. Okay, database management. Guys, no one will ask any questions from this. Okay, you don't worry at all. I'll tell you from the particular topic and all. If it is an interview question, okay, I'll highlight this is an interview question. This is an interview question. Every time I'll highlight, guys. Multiple times I'll highlight that this is a for sure interview question and all. So these are just basics to learn. We cannot suddenly jump into SQL Server, right? So you have to know the history of the SQL Server. Then slowly we'll get into the subject and all. Okay. So before the tabular format, like how the storage is evolving from stones to the databases, in the same way the format is also suddenly no one came to and no one told that we can store the data in tabular format. How they came to know tabular format is the best format to store the data? They tried lot of methods. They tried tree structures, different methods they tried to store the data, but no method is suitable for retrieving the data quickly. The tabular format is very suitable to retrieve the data quickly. So because of that, most of the RDBMS softwares like SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, NoSQL, whatever database softwares are there, in all the database software, the data will be stored in the form of tables only. Is it clear, guys? In every database software, the data will be stored in the form of database, I mean to say, in the form of tables only, tabular format only they use it to store the data. So the DBMS or RDBMS is a way how you are storing the data, how you are retrieving the data. So that is why SQL Server is an RDBMS database software, relational database management system database software. RDBMS software we can call it as a, we can remove this database now. RDBMS software, using this software we can store the data, we can process the data, and we can retrieve the data. So the difference between DBMS and RDBMS, guys, what is the difference between DBMS and RDBMS? Basic difference. So generally, let me open an Excel sheet, guys. Say for example, you are tracking student table, guys. What and all things you are going to track? Tell me. Generally, if you are tracking a student table, what and all things you will track? Now we'll give an ID to student ID, of course, student name. Then help me, guys. Then
Roll
what
number.
are the roll number? Okay, added student ID. Okay. So before that, we'll
Gender.
add roll number. Okay. Let me insert one.
Section.
Okay, student
Fees.
ID, roll number, maybe it will help. Okay, roll number, still I'll add roll number. Gender, next,
Address.
address, very good. Next,
Date of birth.
Marks.
DOB, next,
Marks.
Marks.
marks means I cannot miss. If it is a normal total marks and all, I can manage. Otherwise, what I can do? I can
Grade.
create a grade. Okay,
Grades.
very good, very good. Next,
Yes.
next, sorry,
Fees.
fees, which is very important column. Next, guys, that's
Phone
it.
number.
Phone number, very good. Next,
Mail ID.
mail ID. Next.
Blood group.
Blood group, super. Next.
Section.
Section, okay. Next. Next, guys.
Ethnic background.
What else we can track? Sorry?
Ethnic background.
Which background?
Ethnic background.
Attendance.
Ethnic.
Betterment.
No, background.
Attendance.
Attendance. I thought betterment supplementary like that. I thought. Attendance. Very good. Next. Background something. Someone is saying something. What is that?
I'm saying
Father
that
name.
they are Indian,
Sorry.
Chinese, or American, whatsoever. That's their nationality. Sorry, nationality or something.
Nationality. Okay. Okay. Nationality. Okay. Very good. Nationality.
Identity
Next.
marks.
Parents name. Mother name. Father name.
Ma. Very good. Okay. Mother name. Father name. Okay. Next. So like that you can keep on tracking the things, guys. Unlimited columns you can keep tracking of it. But when you are trying to add multiple columns, what will happen? The table size will increase. Correct? So when you are trying to read any table, actually how it will work, I'll just give you a basic things. When you are trying to read any table from the SQL server, first this table will load into the memory. Memory means RAM. Okay, so if the table is big, we have a lot of challenges. It will take a lot of time to load into the memory. First challenge. Second challenge is security is very, very difficult thing to manage. See, I cannot keep this fee column in the regular table, right? Correct? So, this lot of things we can track for a student, but not the whole data to be visible to everyone based on their respect to based on their responsibilities. For example, marks. Who can see the marks, guys? Teachers can see the marks. Correct? Fee. Who can see the fee? Not everyone, right? Not everyone can see the fee. So finance department will be there. Those who are working in the admin department or finance department, they can see the fee. So other things and all, whatever things are there, personal details, number, phone number, if it is public, it will be difficult thing, right? Correct? So the admin team only can see the phone number and all in case if their parents' phone numbers, mother phone number, father phone number and all in case the student is not coming to the school or college. At least if we are having their numbers, we can inform them. In case of any emergency, we should maintain their parents' contact numbers and all. So not all the data to be visible to everyone, right? So if you are keeping everything in a same table, one is performance wise, it is going to take lot of time, depends upon the table size and all. Second thing is security is also difficult to manage.
Sir, efficiency
So
also.
yes, both means performance means almost it's efficiency only. Okay, so these are all the challenges we have, guys. So before RDBMS didn't came directly into the market. So before RDBMS, DBMS, database management system, came into the market, guys. Database management system means storing the data in the form of tables. Okay, then Shanmukh, you said RDBMS is also storing the data in the form of tables. DBMS also storing the data in the form of table. What is the difference?
Relations.
Correct, both are same. Correct, both are same. So here,
Relation between the tables.
very good. Here, what happened after DBMS? First, they invented this DBMS method, process and all. Then, Professor E.F. Card, who is that, guys? Who is that guy? Scientist. Professor E.F. Card.
Father of
Professor E.F.
RDBMS.
Correct. Professor E.F. Card, who is the father of RDBMS, he is the father of RDBMS. So what he said, so whatever data you are storing in the tabular format, that is good, no issues. But with the tabular format, I mean to say, if the table is big, it will create some issues to manage the data, to maintain the data. So we'll do in another way. So store the data, we can store the data in the form of tables only, but not like the complete information should be in single table. We can divide into small tables and we can create the relationship between the tables. Correct? So now see here, for the same table, what I can do, I can again create marks table for every subject. So student ID, now you see here, if you go to any board exams and all, you will have an ID, roll number. You cannot put your name and all in the exam paper, like you have to put roll number only. And you can just give the marks, whatever marks, social, science, maths, Okay, local languages, whatever marks are there, you can create a marks table. And fee also, I can create a separate table. Fee, total fee, okay, first installment, second installment, third installment, I can create a separate table. But all the tables, whatever tables are there, they are all going to be relation. I mean to say they are in relation because of a common column, a single column. So we can make the tables into, please be muted, guys. If you don't have questions, you can be in mute. If you have questions, you can unmute and you can ask the questions, guys. Okay. So we can the same whatever table you can see. Okay, the big table. What we can do, guys? We can just create into small tables by creating a common column between the tables. By using this common column, I can create the relation. I don't need to mention the name and all in every table. One common column is enough. Using the common column, I can create the relation between the tables. That is called relational database management system. Is it clear, guys? Now, RDBMS is nothing but
More common name will
it's
be
the
isn't it?
correct. It's a relational database management system. It's the way how you are storing the data in the database, guys. The format how you are storing the data in the database is called your RDBMS system, relational database management system. Father of RDBMS is Professor E.F. Card. Okay, Professor E.F. Card is the father of RDBMS, guys. Okay, this is how now for now in future we don't know what kind of changes and all will come, but for now most of the database systems like SQL, MS SQL, Oracle, MySQL, MongoDB. So all these database softwares are following the same structure, which is an RDBMS structure, means storing the tables. Okay, storing the data in the form of tables by creating the relationship between the tables is called RDBMS. The same formula, the same method they are using for now also. Okay, this is how the data will be managed, guys. Okay, now how MS SQL came into the picture? How MS SQL? MS SQL means what? The course that we are learning, MS SQL, Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, whatever logic is there, Microsoft SQL Server. How it came into the market, guys? Who is the vendor for this? Vendor. Who invented this Microsoft SQL Server?
Microsoft itself.
Microsoft itself.
It's not actually correct. So Sybase. Sybase is the inventor of MS SQL. Okay. Then what happened in the late 90s, 80s, sorry. Okay. 80s. I mean to say that is SQL Server. Then late 80s, Microsoft got to know the logic, and what Microsoft did is it just what it did, guys. So Sybase, it just
Got
bought
it.
the logic from the Sybase. Okay, and whatever the database that you are using now, Microsoft SQL Server is like, actually it's not a Microsoft product in the beginning. Okay, it was the product of Sybase. So Microsoft took this logic from the Sybase. That Microsoft paid some amount to the Sybase and then just simply bought the product from the Sybase, and it just Microsoft invented its own flavor. So that is called MS SQL Server, guys. MS SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server. So in the database industry, we have multiple database softwares. As I said in the morning, we have Microsoft SQL Server, we have Oracle, we have MySQL, we have NoSQL, we have MongoDB, we have Postgres, we have Databricks, different database. Synops, we have different database came into the market. Why MS SQL, Shanmukh? Why not Oracle and all? What is the advantage if you learn Microsoft SQL Server? If you ask me, I'll tell you one thing that Microsoft is compatible with the Windows operating systems. First thing is as it is easy, so that's why you have to learn nothing like that. So even though easy or difficult to learn, first you have to follow the industrial standards, right? The organizations. So most of the companies, which database they are going to use, so that only you have to learn, right? So Microsoft SQL Server is actually a leader in the database industry, guys. Microsoft SQL Server is actually a leader in the database industry. So after Microsoft SQL Server means almost Microsoft and Oracle, almost a tough fight is there between the two database softwares. But Microsoft introduced lot of features and all in the form of high availabilities, and also Microsoft SQL Server at present also in the database industry, Microsoft SQL Server occupied almost 30 to 40 percentage, guys. I cannot say more than 50 percentage. 30 to 40 percentage it just occupied. Remaining all other database softwares occupied remaining whatever percentage there. Oracle, after Microsoft SQL Server, we have a famous database software Oracle, and we have MongoDB, MS NoSQL, MySQL. MySQL is different. MS SQL is different, guys. Don't get confused here. MS SQL is completely different. MySQL is completely different. Only that Y is different. Okay, but that is different vendor. This is different vendor. MS SQL is from Microsoft SQL Server. MySQL is from different vendor, guys. Okay, so that is how Microsoft SQL Server was invented, guys. That is how it was invented. Clear, guys? Any questions, doubts so far?
No.
Are we good, guys?
Got a question actually. What is NoSQL database? Because I've heard quite a lot of time, but I don't know what it is.
NoSQL, how MS SQL is there? NoSQL is also kind of a same database software, Imran. That is also separate database software. So that is not like a structured data and all. So using NoSQL, you can even store unstructured data also using NoSQL. That is also a separate product like MS SQL database software only.
SQL is not used. Structured query language is not used in that, and you cannot.
That I'm not sure. That time we are not going to discuss NoSQL and also what see that I came to know that they are not going to use this SQL and all. That is an unstructured data. So using this NoSQL, we can even store the unstructured data and all. That only I know. I don't have any knowledge on NoSQL, how it will work and all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, guys. Any other questions we have? Fine. So that is all about your Microsoft SQL Server history, guys. Okay. So now what we can discuss now, let me start with the SQL Server versions, guys. Okay. Let me start with the SQL Server versions. What kind of versions are there in the SQL Server? Yeah.
And now why there are different types of application like internal, external?
I'll tell you. Okay. So I'll tell you. For example, see, good question actually. For example, if you are working in one company, okay. If you are working in one company, imagine you are working in TCS or Infosys, okay, or maybe some other small company. So if you are working in that company, generally you are going to access, say for example, you want to book the cab, okay. So for booking the cab in your office to book the cab, there will be a separate application. And for example, if you want to like put the attendance and all for you, like daily you have to swipe in, so swipe off and all. And for example, you have to log the entry details somewhere in one application. Okay, for that you are going to use an internal application. For example, you want to apply for some leaves. Okay, maybe next week you are planning to take 2 days leave or some long weekend leave and all. You are trying to apply the leaves. You should know. You should inform before itself, right? At least 1 month before or 15 days before itself. You have to inform. So for all these things, personal things and all, do you think we need a personal application? I mean, an external application and all? So these are all the small requirements. In TCS, we have a lot of requirements like that. If it is a big company and all, for performance wise, there is a different application. You have to give all your performance check-ins and all in different application. For applying shift allowance, on which day, what kind of shift you are. For that, how they are going to track? They will create a small application. So you will open that application. You are going to add your shift allowance and all. I mean to say which shift you worked. Okay, if it is a night shift, again you will get some extra allowance. If it is afternoon, if it is a semi-afternoon, if it is a semi-night shift, if it is early morning shift, you will get some extra allowance, whether it is a comp off, whether it is an extra pay and all. How they are going to track all these things? There should have an application, right? So that is why internal applications are different, external applications are different. So for our internal purpose, whatever we are using for our company related internal purpose and all, the application is nothing but any software, Any piece of software which is fulfilling your requirements is called an application. So we'll have different types of applications. We have internal application, we have external application, we have critical applications, we have non-critical applications. If you go to SBI bank, right? If you go to SBI bank, the perfect example, SBI bank or HDFC or any bank, generally if you are using a public, like the public application, the external application, you can use HDFC net banking or SBI net banking. That is public, everyone can use who are having HDFC account or SBI account. They can simply open net banking, they can use it. That is external application. But if you go to branch directly, once you gave your account number and all, that guy, the cashier or whoever there in that particular seat, they are going to see all your history when you open this account, like the sign, the picture is, the photo is matching or not. Lot of things he can, when you withdraw the money, everything he can see, right? That application, is it a public application, guys? Can everyone see those details? Is it possible? No. Are you getting the point now? So only the bank people who are working in the bank, that too not everyone. In the bank, lot of people will work. Security guard also will work in the bank. That doesn't mean he can see all the records, right? Only the cashier, respected team, whatever the roles as per their roles and responsibilities, they can see the data. So that is the difference. So internal application is different, external application is different. And the application can be a big, application can be a small. Application can be a critical, application can be a non-critical application. Now HDFC net, if imagine HDFC net banking is down. Sometimes if you go to your bank, sometimes they will tell you please wait for 30 minutes, the servers are down. Especially if you go to SBI and all, you can heard this, servers are down, application is not working. See how many users are affected, guys. In the same way, in the organization also, if HR application is not working, the people cannot apply for the leaves. People cannot apply for the shift allowance and all. See how many users are going to be affected. User is nothing but any person who is using that application. So that is why internal applications are different, external applications are different. Is it clear now?
Yeah, Anna.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So now let's discuss this, guys. So now what we can do, let's start with the SQL Server versions first, and then slowly, okay, we are going to discuss the other things and all. So what is a version in SQL Server, guys? Version is nothing but an updated software copy is called a version. Version means an updated software copy is called a version. Now, for example, the best example is your Windows laptops, guys. Earlier, you remember Windows 10, before Windows 10, what kind of versions we used to use, guys? Before Windows 10. Now we are using Windows 11. Before Windows 11, we have Windows 10. Now most of the people, some people are using Windows 11, some people are using Windows 10. Before Windows 10, guys, what versions we have? Before Windows
Windows
10.
8.
Windows 8, and before, in between 8 and Windows 10, one more version is there. Anyone knows
XP.
that one? In between 8, after 8 and after, I mean, before Windows 10, there is one more Windows version is there. Anyone is able to tell the answer?
7 was there, and
No, 8, after 8, before 10.
when-
Okay, so
was
8.1 is there, 8.1. If you remember, 8.1, Windows 8.1, but it was not so famous. Windows 8 is famous, and then Windows 10 is famous. Before, after 8, we have Windows 8.1 also. So before Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows Home Basic, Windows XP. These are all the versions of the Windows operating systems, guys. If you go to Android, the device that you are using now, Android, now you are using maybe Android, I don't know anyone heard about this, Android KitKat version, Android Marshmallow version. These are all different versions of Android. If you go to iPhone, iPhone 16 now, iPhone 15, 14, 12, 11, iPhone SE Standard Edition. These are all the versions, guys. If you see here, so what is the difference between, if you see iPhone 15 and 16, you don't see a big difference. Correct? You don't see a big difference. But if you see iPhone 5 and iPhone 15, Correct? When iPhone 5 released, guys, when iPhone 5 released, maybe 5, not 5, maybe 10, 15 years back it was released. When Android 4, Android 5 devices released, maybe 10, 15 years before it was released. So version is nothing but an updated software copy. In every version, there is a chance that they can introduce new features. Is it clear, guys? What is meant by version? Version is nothing but an updated software copy is called a version. So like that, how many versions are there we have in SQL Server? We have SQL Server 97. Actually, 93 onwards it's there, but the 93 is not so famous and it was not into the market actually. So 97 onwards, Microsoft started releasing the SQL servers into the market, guys. 97 is also not so famous. From SQL Server 2000 onwards, believe me, guys, if you see the stars here, why there are so many stars? Because Microsoft SQL Server 2000 version turned the whole database industry. Till then, no one introduced SQL Server on GUI. Till then, if you want to work with any database, you should know the coding. Before SQL Server 2000, any database from SQL Server 2000, Microsoft is famous for GUI, guys. Before Windows systems, we used to have only Linux machines. So if you want to handle the machine, you should know the coding. You should know the commands. But after Microsoft came into the picture, totally the face of the okay computers are changed, guys, totally. Everyone can able to learn because of the Microsoft, because of the ease that they introduced, like by adding the GUI features and all, so that everyone, if you want to create a new folder, simply right click, you will choose new, and then folder you will choose. You will create the new folder and you'll give the name. But if you want to create the same new folder in the Linux, you have to remember a lot of commands. So you have to know the new folder command and you have to know what is the rename, like rename command also you should know, and you should know the make directory. So lot of commands you should know to handle. So from 2000 onwards, they introduced a GUI into the database industry, graphical user interface. There are two interfaces, CUI, command user interface, GUI, graphical user interface. You can manage SQL Server using both. If you are good at commands, you can just play with commands. If you are not good at commands, okay, you can happily you can use GUI. In the organization, no one will ask, okay, whether you are using GUI or CUI, whether they are whatever work they gave that you are fulfilling, that you are completing or not. Backup, to take the backup, right click tasks backup you can choose, or backup database name to disk is equal to file name.bak also you can give. Which method you are comfortable you can use. Actually GUI, let me tell you one thing, guys, GUI is nothing but, don't think that is a separate thing. For example, so this is like, if I want to create a new folder, right click new and then folder. I'm just creating new folder. I got this folder, right? I am renaming this folder B58. So when I hit enter, what happened, guys? Can anyone tell me? Once if I hit enter, what will happen? Tell me.
A new folder create.
Folder will be created, correct?
Yes.
But Windows operating system don't know what is GUI. What your GUI will do, Can anyone tell me what is your GUI will do? Graphical user interface. What it will do, What it will do, guys?
Actually,
It will
it run the command in background,
correct. It
make
will
directory like that.
it will convert your actions into command. You don't know what is the command to create B58 folder. You don't know what is the command to create B58 folder. You don't know what is the command to delete B58 folder. This graphical user interface will convert your actions into command. Windows doesn't understand your graphical user interface, guys. Are you getting the point? Windows doesn't understand your graphical user interface. Windows just run based on the commands. But you don't know what is the command to delete the folder. You don't know what is the command to create the folder. This GUI will help you. Your actions will convert. Now if I click delete, your actions, now that click will convert your action into command. When I click That command will run on the Windows operating system, which actually deleting the folder, guys. Are you getting the
Okay.
point now? So
Yes,
every
it is like
action,
little. Okay, it's
correct.
like little bit like different from that your like. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Tell me. You're audible. Yeah. Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, Shamik.
Okay. So this is how it will work, guys. If I want to refresh, actually there will be one command will run. Okay. You don't know what is the command to refresh, but when you right click and if you select refresh, this interface will convert your action into command. That command will run on the computer. Once it ran, it is going to refresh the system. In the same way, if you are trying to create something new folder and all, you don't know the command to create the new folder. So once you select this action, whatever interface you can see now, this interface, so this interface will convert your action into the command, and that when you click OK, that command will run and your action will be fulfilled, guys. This is how the GUI will help you. In the
It's like
SQL Server
little
also.
different from Linux, right? Like
Correct,
in
correct.
Linux, if we use like for each and everything, we need to like type command for like
Correct. We have
creation
to
or
type the
deletion.
command. Mm-hmm. So here no need to type the commands and all. Simply your actions will be converted into commands using your graphical user interface, guys. In the same way, in the SQL Server also, to take the backup. Generally, I'm just giving a small example. A right click and then you can choose tasks and then I'll show you again. Backup you will choose. But whatever you are choosing, whatever you are selecting, that action will be converted into command. That command will run on the SQL server, then it will take the backup, guys. But you don't know what is the command to take the backup, so simply you can make use of the GUI. So no one in the organization will ask you try to use commands only. Okay, no one will ask you there, because most of the people don't know the commands. Okay, why we have GUI? At the end of the day, the work has to be finished, whether you are doing by GUI or whether you are using command. What is the difference? No difference, right? At the end of the day, even though you are giving in the GUI, that will be converted into command and that command only will be executed. So that is the reason. So Microsoft products and like databases and all is easy to learn, guys. So again, it's not as it is easy to learn. So that's why the whole market, database market industry turned into the Microsoft and all, nothing like that. That is also one positive. And one more thing is it just started introducing lot of features from the database side, guys. Like for high availability and all, different new features it's introduced. So lot of things are improved when compared to other database report, other database softwares and all. So it's not like me, I am saying that the MS SQL is the top database software. You can go and Google it. There is a report called Gartner report. Okay. So Gartner report for SQL Server, if you go and Google it, you can see the leaders. There will be four, okay. There will be four areas, leaders and niche players, something different. This will be there. Let me open this. If you see here, guys, okay, so you can see how it was. See, there are four sections: leaders, challengers, niche players and visionaries. You can see here Microsoft on top. So Microsoft and Microsoft related products and then Oracle. So it's not like as Shanmukhi is saying something like that, but again in the now also in the database industry, 40 almost 40 percentage, okay, databases belongs to Microsoft SQL Server, guys. Remaining 60 percentage belongs to all other database softwares like Oracle and MySQL, NoSQL, MongoDB, DB2. These are all like 40 percentage is occupying, means you can imagine. So you are learning a good technology, and we have even added cloud also for future purpose. So nothing to worry about the career, and also happily you can work for next 10 years on the SQL Server. But again, in the IT, you have to keep updating yourself. Adding technologies is always going to weightage for your profile and all, is always going to give the weightage to your profile and all. So that is okay. That is different thing and also this is how it will work, guys. So if you go and check the versions of the SQL servers, so it started from 97. You have to remember all these versions, guys. These versions should be on tip of your tongue. Very basics in the SQL server. SQL server 97 you can ignore. SQL server 2000 onwards you have to remember. The first question that they will ask in the interview is you are working on what kind of versions till now, like are you worked on what versions in SQL server. So if you can't tell the versions, that's it. Okay, our HR will get back to you. Okay, so very basic question, the first question that he will ask in the interview, guys, till now what and all versions you worked, or which versions you have an hands-on experience and all. So you can tell like all these versions, guys. SQL server 2000, 2005, the year you can see here, that means it was released in the year of 2000. Generally in the Oracle versions you can see 19C, something like that, 11G, like that you can see. But in the SQL server, Microsoft SQL server, so it will represent with the year, in which year it was released. Okay, so SQL server 2000 is released in the year of SQL server in the year of 2000, guys. Okay, 2000, I'll tell you what is the 7.070, 8.080, 9.090. I'll tell you all these numbers, don't worry. Not now, slowly we'll discuss. Right after 2000, after 5 years, again they released one more version called 2005. How Apple is releasing Apple 14, 15, 16 every year, in the same way Microsoft also released one more version 2005. 2005 is also very famous, guys. 2005 is also very famous. Actually the management studio is introduced from 2005 only. Before management studio, I'll tell you what is management studio and all. We used to have query analyzer, that also will help you for the GUI only. So in the 2000 we used to use query analyzer. Sometimes in the interviews they will ask, guys, before management studio, which tool we used to use, or SQL server 2000, generally using which tool we can connect to SQL server 2000. Sometimes they will ask this question, sometimes rarely. If the guy is very senior DBA, 30 years experience kind of guy, then he might ask this kind of questions also. Which tool is there to connect to SQL Server 2000? Okay, query analyzer. What is that, guys? Query analyzer. Management Studio is introduced from 2005 onwards. After 2005, after 3 years, again it introduced one more version 2008. Then 8 R2. R2 means release 2. In the same year, it released one more. Okay, version, that is 2008 R2. Then after 4 years, 2012. Then 2014, 16. Immediately in the next year, 17. After 2 years, 2019. After 3 years, 2020, 22. Now the upcoming version is. Tell me, guys, what is the upcoming version?
24.
2024.
Ah,
Okay.
oh.
25.
చెప్పు చెప్పండి 26, 27, 28.
25. 25.
SQL Server 2025. If you remember in the morning session, we discussed it, right? SQL Server 2025. I said like in case if it is going to be released before our sessions are going to be end, I'll also show you how to install 2025 and all. So the upcoming version, they already announced that they are going to release it 2025. So don't know when they are going to announce, but it was confirmed. Okay. So SQL Server 2025, okay, is the new version. It is the upcoming version. Maybe you guys will play with the 2025. Okay. So don't know. I'm guessing like more Azure, more AI integration and all they are going to use. They are going to include more AI integration. So definitely 2025 maybe that also can turn the face of database. So they'll try. Nowadays everyone is trying to integrate AI. Okay, so in their particular application, and also maybe 2025 also will comes with the AI features and all. So let's see how it will be. Clear, guys? Versions of SQL Server, everyone. Tomorrow,
How to check?
the first, I'll tell you how to check the version and all.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I'll show you. Okay. Tomorrow, the first question that I'll ask is, tomorrow I'll conduct one quiz before starting the session. So I'll ask the quiz. In the quiz and all, I'll ask it. So the versions of SQL Server. What are the versions of SQL Server? Apart from that, the versions of Windows Server also. Okay. So just take a snip, guys. Now itself we can take a snip. Tomorrow morning, okay, you have to tell the versions of SQL Server. Take a snip. Just from here to here. Okay, you can take a snip. the photo in the mobile and all, you can just make use of it and you can just take this photo. Tomorrow I'll ask for sure. Fine. Now, clear, guys? Can I go ahead? Okay, fine. So after this, let's discuss about the Windows Server versions. So now remember one thing, guys. Remember one thing. If you want to install SQL Server, okay? SQL Server is an application, is a software. In layman words, if I want to tell, SQL Server is a software. For example, in your phone, you want to install WhatsApp, guys. If you want to install WhatsApp, what and all things should be there in your phone? Where you can install WhatsApp, guys?
Play Store.
Play Store should be there. Very good. Next,
Storage.
storage. Super. Very good. Beautiful.
Network.
Next,
Operating system.
operating system. Very good. Very good. Very good. Without
Networks.
Android, yeah, network is also. But before all these things, without Android, can I install WhatsApp? Can I install PhonePe? Can I
No.
install GPay? No, right? Not possible, right? So we need one platform. That platform is called Dash. Dash. Operating
Windows Server.
system. OS. Operating system. Okay, if you want to install any application in your laptop, now we are taking classes in the Zoom. So most of you guys maybe installed Zoom yesterday. Okay, so or today morning. So that Zoom is an application. If I want to install the Zoom application, what I should have? I should have a platform. What platform? An operating system. So this is the operating system. On top of this, what I can do? And so if I want to install an operating system, what I should have, guys? If I want to install an operating system, what I should have? Where I can install the operating system? Android or Windows 10, Windows 11, where I can install that? I should
Machine.
have a device, machine, very good. Machine means your laptop. So
For
imagine this
compatibility.
is, yeah, imagine this is your laptop and this boundary is your operating system. On top of this operating system, you can install the SQL Server, guys. On top of this operating system, you can install the SQL Server. Not only SQL Server, any application you can install this on top of the SQL Server, on top of the operating system. So if I want to install SQL Server, can I directly install SQL Server, guys? Is it possible?
No, it's
No,
not
right?
possible.
First of all, I should have Dash.
A machine and the operating
Machine. Next, I should have Dash. On
operating
top
system.
of machine.
Operating system
First, I
system.
should have machine. On top of the machine, I should have operating system. On top of that only, I can install the SQL Server. Is it clear, guys? Everyone?
Yes.
Everyone, is it clear? Right? So if I want to install SQL Server now, I should have a Windows machine. Windows machine. Why Shanmukh Windows? Can't we install SQL Server on Linux? We can install. But SQL with Windows only is famous. SQL with Linux, no one is using, not even 1% also. SQL with Linux introduced from 2019 onwards. 2019 or 27, yeah, 2017 onwards they introduced. So, but it was not yet famous. It was not yet famous. So we need a Windows operating system to install the SQL Server. And we need a machine to install the Windows Server. Clear? Now guys, are we good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Good guys. So like any software should have version, guys. Any software. Like how you're having your laptop. In the morning, someone asked Shanmukh, what is this Windows Server? I guess Akila asked, what is this Windows Server? So Windows Server is also an operating system like your laptop. Like your laptop, Windows 10, Windows 11, how it was in the same way, Windows Server is also an operating system. Then what is the difference between server and the desktop? These are whatever we are using, these are all the desktop operating systems. We have two types of operating systems, guys. We have two types of operating systems in the SQL Server. What are those two types? Sorry, not SQL Server, in the Windows. we have two types of operating systems in the Windows. What is that, guys? One is desktop operating systems. Second one is server operating systems. So desktop operating system means what, guys? Your Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1, Windows 10, Windows 11. These are all the desktop operating systems, guys. What is the server operating system? What versions are there? Okay. So difference between desktop and server, guys, I'll tell you. Desktop is for our personal purpose. Okay. Desktop is our personal purpose. 1 minute, just 1 minute, guys. What happened? What happened? What happened? People asking for leave. Okay. 1 minute, just 1 minute, guys. Please don't mind. Right. Okay. So yeah, 8:30. We'll go for break after 5-10 minutes. Okay. Fine. So difference between desktop operating system and server operating system is desktop operating systems are meant for personal uses. Okay, for our personal uses. That's why you can see 4 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM, 16 GB RAM and all. Hardly you can see 16 GB RAM. Maybe the new machines, maybe you can see 32 GB RAM also. That is very hardly you can see that. But guys, imagine in the organization, this 4 GB, 8 GB, 16 GB, these are all peanuts, guys. We are going to handle the servers 256 GB RAM, 512 GB RAM based on their application. Do you think the whole Amazon application is running with 64 GB or 128 GB, guys? How big it is? How many transactions it is processing per millisecond? So do you think that 4 GB, 8 GB, 16 GB will work for Amazon? Not at all. You should have more memory to process these things. Okay. So desktop operating systems are meant for the personal uses. Once your work is finished, what I'll do after the class, what I'll do? I'll simply stop my laptop. Okay. And then I'll close it. So if I install SQL Server on the desktop operating systems in your laptops in the organization, once your shift is completed, you are going to stop your laptop and then you will go. That is not it is going to work, right? The application should run continuously 24/7. It's not like, okay, Shanmukh shift is completed, again tomorrow morning we'll connect. You cannot see a banner message right in the application. So servers has to run continuously 24/7 and it should have more resources. It should support 128 GB RAM, it should support 256 GB RAM, it should support 512 GB RAM. That is the reason we'll run the show on server operating systems. We don't install SQL servers in the local laptops, in your organization laptops. We don't install it. So we have to use server operating systems because we'll maintain the servers in one place called data center. We'll have a big building or big or small depends upon the applications. So in the building, we'll have a separate racks and all. We'll maintain data centers. In the data centers, we will have racks. Okay. Let me show you data centers on premises data center. Okay. So this is how you can see, guys. This is how you can see the data centers racks and all. See, these are all the data centers. In the data centers, you can see the rack. In each rack, you will have an operating system. So each rack will have its own operating system, its own RAM, its own storage, guys, its own CPU. Okay, maybe yeah. See, like this. Now, whatever laptops you can see now, see the servers will be look like this, guys. See, these are all the racks. Every rack will have its own RAM, its own CPU, its own processor. CPU means processor only. Its own storage. Maybe storage can be separate. Okay, like that memory also can be separate. So this is CPU CPU, main thing is CPU, guys. This is how in each, see, in this machine, in this box, we'll have Windows Server operating system. On top of Windows Server operating system, we'll install SQL Server. And these machines will run continuously 24/7 by 365 days. Then only the application can be available. Otherwise, if something happened and in this particular rack, if something happened to this particular machine, the operating system, whatever it is, it will be down, the machine will be down. So if the database server is down, the application will be down. If the application is down, the business will be down. Clear, guys, now? Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
So why we should use server operating systems, guys? Because the server operating systems are more capable than your desktop operating systems. Desktop operating systems maximum can support 16 GB RAM or 32 GB RAM nowadays, but server operating system you need more memory, and server operating systems has to run continuously 24/7 by 365. But interface wise both look like same only. Server means don't think separate environment will be there. No, the same how you are handling your laptop, same way you can handle the server also. But capability wise, resources wise, server operating system will support more resources, whereas desktop operating system will support less resources. The desktop operating system is meant for the personal use. Server operating systems are meant for the enterprise, whatever organizational use. So will be used server operating system. So in every organization, they will follow the same principle. They are going to set up the Windows servers first. On top of the Windows servers, they are going to install the SQL servers. So Windows Server is also a software. It's an operating system. It will also will have like how we have 7, 8, 8.1, 10, 11. Server operating systems also will have different versions, guys. What are those versions? Okay, these are all the Windows Server versions. Windows Server 2000, Windows Server 2003, 8, 8R2, 12, 12R2, Windows Server 2016, Windows Server 2019, Windows Server 2022. Guys, this is an application servers. This is an operating system servers. Don't get confused here. Maybe few versions like 2000 is there in the SQL Server also. Yes, 2008 is there, 2008 R2 is there in the SQL Server, 2012 is there in the SQL Server, 2016 is there, 2019 is there, 2022 is there. So most of the versions are there. I mean to say, kind of versions. Okay, don't think both are same. This is an operating system. This is a platform, whereas this is an application, guys. Is it clear now, everyone? Guys, are we good?
So
On top of this platform, we are going to install any of the versions, guys. Yes, please. Someone is asking the doubt.
yeah, I'm just asking that, Shanu, that those two operating systems and SQL Server, they're releasing on the same dates, or like they're on the
No, no,
same.
no, 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 no. Do you think iPhone 15, 16 is going to release on the same dates? Is it possible? Always you have to compare and learn. Is it possible, or is there any use if iPhone 15 and 16 are releasing on the same date? Who will buy iPhone 15? Or if they are releasing on the same date, what is the use of releasing iPhone 16? Clear
I'm just
now? Very simple.
they are in a same package, like they're
Yeah,
like 12 is
correct, correct. So that's why you can see here this was released in the year of 2000. This was released in the year of 2003, and it was released in the year of 2008, 8R2, 12, 12R2, 16, 20, 22. So you can see there is a lot of difference. 3 years, 3 years, 4 years, okay, and again 4 years, and again
So
5 years.
what is R2?
R2 means release 2.
Yes.
Yeah, release 2.
Shanmugh, currently we are using all these versions, huh? Like you mentioned.
Depends. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Are we going to use all these versions? Depends. I'll tell you. Okay. After the break, we'll cover all these things. How many versions they are using? Maybe. Yeah. The answer is the shortest answer is yes.
Okay.
Depends. Few organizations will use from 2000 to 2022 also. Few organizations will use 2008 to 2019. Few organizations will use the latest version. Few organizations will use all the versions. So it depends upon their application compatibility. Either they might use all or they might use few.
Okay. I mean, for example, if any application has to be there, So they will use,
Hmm.
they will only use like a Windows Server 2012, or else they will use multiple servers. I mean,
I'll tell
multiple.
you. No, for one application, one operating system, not multiple
Oh,
servers and all. One application, one operating system. Yeah.
okay.
Clear, guys? Are we good?
Yeah, yes.
So, the SQL Server version, any SQL Server version can install on any Windows
I'll tell you
ser-
after the
version.
break.
Okay, yeah, fine,
After
fine.
the break.
Thank you.
That is very important. So that will be covered. That is called compatibility. Questions, guys, so far? Any questions, doubts, please?
One question I have is like they come as a package as well. The Microsoft are given option like 2012 Windows Server and SQL Server as a package.
No, nothing like that. No such kind of packages. Because see, Windows Server operating system is not only for SQL Server. You might can use the same for other applications also. Maybe they might have some plan and all. Maybe they might reduce some amount and all if you are taking both. But there is no such kind of a single package. If you go to Azure, maybe you will have some VMs that you can create multiple combinations and all. That is a different thing.
So last question I have is, Shanu, is what was reporting servers? There is a reporting servers that SSRS and that sort of
See,
stuff.
using SQL Server, you can store, process, retrieve the data. That is one phase of the SQL Server. The other phase is you can analyze the data using analysis services. You can integrate the data using integration services. You can generate reports using reporting services. So this SSIS, SSRS, SSAS, these three components are called as a BIDS, BIDS, Business Intelligence Development Studio. Under BIDS, we have these three components. To analyze, to integrate, to generate reports, we'll use these three components. So sometimes they might ask you, do you know SSIS? Do you know SSRS? So as a DBA, our work limited to install the components. I'll tell you during the installation, okay? So SSIS, SSRS, SSAS and all. So those will be installed. Maybe DBS can install, but it's not mandatory to have SSIS, RS and AS knowledge, guys. Nowadays, they all migrated to Power BI and all. Very less people are using reporting services nowadays. Okay, not many. So reporting services, they might ask you that do you have any knowledge on reporting services and all. Tell them as a DBA, I will install reporting services. Okay, and of course you can make use of chat GPT and all. Even if they are asking any questions also, you can answer it. But it's not part of the DBA. As a DBA, we will just install the components, but we will not generate any reports, and we are not going to set up the things SSIS, SSRS, and SSAS, guys.
Thank you, Shanu. Thank you very much. On 2017-18, I used SSRS and converted the old reporting system to new reporting services system service. So it is not common at the moment. You saying that?
No. It's not common. It's not common. For that, there will be a separate team. As I said, the business analyst team will be there. They are going to take care of it. Only installation wise, we are going to. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, guys, take a break. Come back after 15 minutes. Okay, so we'll cover other things, right?
Okay.
Compatibility on which operating systems, what kind of SQL servers. Can I install all SQL servers on all the Windows servers? Is it possible or it is not possible? How it will be, or on what kind of Windows servers I can install SQL servers and all? That is called compatibility. And then we'll also discuss about the build number format, these values 12, 13, 14. So what is this format and all, that also will be discussed after the break, guys. Okay, come back after 15 minutes, guys. We are going to extend the session, okay,
Okay.
after the break.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be back in 15 minutes, guys. అయిపోయింది. Guys, can you hear me? Guys, can anyone please confirm? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can. Yeah, sir. Can hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Fine, fine. Yeah, thank you, guys.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So let's discuss about the SQL versions, guys. I mean to say, okay, the SQL versions, what and all versions we have. SQL Server 2000, 2005, 8, 8R2, 12, 14, 16, 17, 19, and 2022. These are all the SQL versions. Windows versions we have Windows Server 2000, Windows Server 2003, Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2008 R2, Windows Server 2012, 2012 R2, 2016, 2019, 2022. 2022 is the latest version for now. Even SQL Server 2022 also latest version for now. Again, this is the operating system and this is the application. Okay. On top of the operating systems, we can install any of the versions. On top of this operating system, I can install any of these SQL servers, guys. Right. Now, let's discuss about the compatibility. I'll simply tell you one reason that we cannot install all the versions of SQL servers on all the versions of Windows servers. That is not possible. Why it is not possible? That is called compatibility. When this SQL server was released, guys, now tell me when this SQL server was released. In the year of, when it was released, this one, the one I highlighted. When this SQL server was released, guys.
2000.
In the year of 2000, correct? So when you are releasing any product, generally, what you will do? That time, what and all operating systems are there, the engineers, those who plan to release this 2000, they will plan for that time what and all operating systems are there, they are going to think about the operating system so that it will support, okay, the nearest operating systems during that time, correct? During that time, the nearest operating systems whatever there to support, they are going to design like that 2000 SQL Server 2000. So the SQL Server 2000 can be installed the nearby operating system to the year of 2000 by 2000 or nearby 2000, whatever operating systems are there. Okay, on those operating systems only you can install SQL Server. But Shanmukh, how can I remember? You are saying I cannot install all SQL Server versions on all Windows Server versions. I'll give you a simple example. Imagine you born in the year of 2000. Imagine you born in the year of 2000, or maybe you are 4 5 years age. At that time, you are 4 5 years age. The clothes that you used in the year of 2000, can you use the same clothes now in the year of 2022? Is it possible, guys?
No, not possible.
No,
Not at all possible, correct? So that time in the year of 2000, based on your height, based on your age, maybe the dresses will support for you for 5 6 years. That's it. Maybe if it is like big dresses and all, like XL kind of thing or L kind of thing, maybe it will support 4 5 years. Hardly it will support, or 6 7 years. Maybe if you are still using 6 7 years. So can you use the same dress, guys, after 22 years? Is it possible? Not at all possible. That is called compatibility. That time your height is different. Now your height is different. How come you can use the 2000 dresses in the year of 2022? It is not at all possible. You don't know in the year of 2000 what will be your height and all. So that is the reason that is called compatibility. I cannot install all the versions of SQL servers on all the versions of Windows servers. Then Shanmukh, is there any shortcut to remember? Yes, there is a shortcut. Every SQL server software will support -7 years to +7 years, guys. Every SQL server software will support -7 years to +7 years. There is no rule. Okay, this is with the experience only I'm telling. There is no rule. Nowhere you can see in the Microsoft documentation and all. You cannot see all these things. -7 years to +7 years, it will support, guys. Plus or minus 1 2 years you can add. Okay, so now let's go and calculate with this formula. Imagine for SQL Server 2012. Okay, now what is the formula, guys? 2012 will support -7 years and it will support +7 years. What is the -7 of 2012?
2006.
2000, is it 2006? Hmm?
5.
2005. Okay, 2. What is the +7 years of 2012?
2019.
Right, very good. In this range, what and all Windows Server versions are there, guys? We have in this 2005 to 2012. What Windows Server you can see and you can tell the answer. 2005 to 2012. What and all Windows Server versions we have? 2005 to
2008.
12. Now tell me.
2008,
2008
2008,
R2.
R2
12 R2,
Very
16,
good.
19.
Very good.
and
Very good. On all these versions, you can install SQL Server, guys. This is how you have to remember. Clear? Any questions, doubts, guys? I'll explain again.
Shanu, this is our analogy. We
Our
created.
analogy. Correct. Correct. This is our analogy, and this is what exactly plus or minus 1 2 versions can add. But suddenly, if someone comes to you, hey, can you install 2012 on Windows Server 2000? Is it possible? Now you tell me. Before this discussion, okay, you might have a doubt. Now you are clear. Can you install 2012 on Windows Server 2005 or Windows Server 2000? Is it possible? I mean, Windows Server 2005 we don't have. I'm sorry. So is it possible, guys? Now tell me, can I install SQL Server 2012 on Windows Server 2000? Is it possible?
Not at
How
all.
many years gap is there?
Not
How
at
many years gap is there?
No, no.
How
all.
many
no,
years
no.
gap is there? How many years gap is there?
10,
10 to 12 years.
12
SQL Server
years.
2012 on Windows Server 2000. 12 years gap.
12
Maximum
years.
it will support. Maximum it will support how many years, guys?
Plus or minus same.
So for that particular version of SQL Server, you have to go back for 7 years. You have to again, okay, go for the next 7 years. -7 years to +7 years. For sure, you can install SQL Server. If someone is coming to you, hey, can you install SQL Server 2012 on Windows Server 2022? Is it possible? Gap. How much gap is there?
No.
Very simple. Very simple. How much gap is there and check the gap is in this range or not. That's it. No need to remember all these things. How much gap is there between your source and target and check the gap is in this range or not. Clear? Now tell me, guys, can I install SQL Server 2012 on Windows Server 2022?
No.
No.
Is it possible, guys? Why others, only few people are saying no? What about others? Is it, guys, is it clear? I'll again happy to explain. No issues for me. So if it is not clear, let me know. Again, I'll explain.
Now, once more repeat.
Yeah, okay, fine, no issues. So, guys, are you good? Like, as I said earlier, we can install the SQL servers. These are all the applications versions. These applications can be installed on Windows servers. Is it clear, everyone? Any of these applications versions, SQL Server versions can be installed on any of the Windows servers. Is it clear, right? So Windows Server is the platform on top of Windows Server. So if I want to install SQL Server 2019, first of all, I have to create one virtual machine as per this diagram. Then on top of the virtual machine, I have to install any of the operating system, Windows Server 2019 or Windows Server 2022. On top of that, I have to install SQL Server 2019. This is clear, right? This point is clear, everyone. Any questions here, please? Are we good? On top of the Windows servers, we can install SQL servers. Is it clear or not?
Yeah, no.
Everyone. Clear, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
clear.
Okay, fine. So now, second point, I cannot install all the SQL versions on all the Windows Server versions due to the compatibility. I gave you an example. Whatever dresses you are wearing at the age of 5 years, you cannot wear the same dresses at the age of 22nd year. Correct? Is it clear? I cannot install all SQL Server versions on all Windows Server versions. Clear? Are we good, guys, on this point? Right. The third point is every SQL server will support -7 years to +7 years. There is a support period. Okay, so let me open this website. If you go and
It is
check this SQL server builds.blogspot.com, every software, not only SQL server, guys, generally in the IT, in the software industry, every software will support for a certain period. It cannot support for the lifetime. Okay, so if you go and see here, see SQL Server 2016, when it was released, guys, when it was released in the year of 2016, correct? Support end date, when it is going to end the support?
20.
2021. After support ended, there will be an extra option called extended support, like warranty, extended warranty and extended warranty. In the same way, support period and extended support period. So by paying some extra amount to Microsoft, you can use the software till 2026. Shanmukh, after 2026, can I use it? Now, guys, people are still using iPhone 7, iPhone 8, iPhone 10 also, iPhone standard edition also. They are using it or not? Do you think if any new iPhone came into the market, the old iPhone users, they are throwing their phones and they are buying the new phone, or they are exchanging their phones? Nothing like that, right? You can still use iPhone even though there is no support for iPhone. What is the risk here? My iPhone, the Apple will not release any of the updates for the iPhone, right? If you are ready to take the risk, then you can still use old iPhone also, no issues. And the new applications and all you cannot install on the old iPhone. So in the same way, there is a support period, extended support period. So after extended support period, can I still use SQL Server 2016? Yes, you can still use, but Microsoft will not give you any support. If any attacks are there, it will not release any service packs. It will not release any updates. You have to take the risk. Microsoft is not going to take the risk. So in the same way, every SQL server will support -7 years to +7 years. Okay. So that you can install before 7 years of the version and after 7 years of the particular version. So if I am asking SQL Server 2019, or for example, let's go with 2008. If I am asking on what and all Windows Server versions, I can install the SQL Server. On what and all Windows Server versions, I can install the SQL Server. Where is this notes? Yeah, SQL Server 2008. Control G again. SQL Server 2008. Now tell me, guys, the formula, whatever formula is there. Now tell me on what and all Windows Server version I can install the SQL Server 2008. Remember that -7 + 7. -7, 2008 -7.
2001 to 2015.
2015. In this range, what and all Windows operating systems are there? 2001 to 15.
2003.
Guys, don't think 2001 to 15 means we should have Windows Server 2001, we should have Windows 2015. Nothing like that. In between of this range, what and all Windows Server versions are there for us?
2003.
Very good.
8 up to 12.
12.
That's it. 16 it doesn't comes under, right? 2015 up to 2015 only. 16 is crossing 2015. So on all these Windows Server operating system, for sure you can install SQL Server 2008. Are we good, guys? Now
Yeah.
clear? I'll
Yeah,
give you one question.
I have got to ask is like total support will finish from the Microsoft because I worked for a company like for a few weeks deployment as
Okay.
a and they were in 2022 and they were using to Windows 7 actually as a client operating system and they said that Microsoft will be giving support as well.
What version they are using?
Windows 7, Windows 7.
Windows 7. Why they will use Windows 7 for SQL servers?
I don't know, they're just using it for the operating system. Yeah, that's it.
That's what. That's what. Why? See, why they are using like desktop operating system for SQL Server? They shouldn't use desktop operating system, right?
Yeah. No, no, I'm just asking though the Microsoft was giving still support to them
No,
for
the question should be clear. First thing, okay? Maybe you are confused. Here we cannot use desktop operating systems. Just
okay.
1 minute. Just 1 minute. I'm getting one call, please. 1 minute.
बॉलिंग कोच मुंबई वाटेगा
Yeah, guys, can you hear me? Right? So that is all about the compatibility, guys. Now, are we good on this, everyone? On what and all Windows Server versions we can install SQL servers? Are we good on this? If we are good, I'll give you one scenario, one question, okay? Tell me on what and all Windows Server versions we can install. Type your answers in the chat. I want the participation, whatever you know, just type it, guys. Even one version also is fine. On what and all Windows Server versions I can install SQL Server mm, 2017. Okay, type your answers in the chat. On what and all Windows Server versions I can install SQL Server 2017. Type your answers in the chat. And when I ask you to type the answers in the chat, don't type publicly. Okay, just you can select my name. You can send direct message to me. In the to section, choose Shanmukh. Okay, so that you can directly send message to me. So if you are like Shanmukh or Shanmukh is not there, Source University, choose Source University so that others cannot see the answer and all. Otherwise, they will repeat the same answer, copy paste the things and all. So always you have to use the direct message to me so that I can see and I'll correct it. Okay, just type your answer. Akila, guys, don't be too smart. Don't be too smart. I'm going to open this Windows Server versions list and you have to type the Windows Server versions. Okay, so it's not like simply a plus and adding +7 and -7 and simply from this to this we can install. You cannot say like that directly. I need Windows Server versions. You can see answer on the screen on what and all Windows Server versions I can install SQL Server 2017. Type your answers in the chart. Is my question clear, guys? Everyone, is my question clear?
Yes.
Okay, then please type your answers in the chat. I'll give you 2 minutes time, guys. Ruben Rock, Pradeep Deepu, website Rajput. Thank you. Okay, fine guys. Now let me check. Right. Okay. So Madhavi responded Ram, Bhavana, and then Akila and Gopi, Madhu, Imran, Pardo, Preeti, and yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for responding. And let's calculate now. SQL Server 2017, right? That means minus 7, which will be 2010, to plus 7, which will be 2024. Okay, 2017 plus 7, which will be 2024. In this range, what and all Windows Server operating systems there, guys? 2010 to 2024. Okay, so we have all these Windows Server operating systems. So the answer is Windows Server 2012, 12R to 16, 19, 22. So let me check. Okay, Madhavi 12, 12R to 16, 19, 22. Very good, Madhavi. Ram Windows Server 2012 to 2022. Okay, smart answer, but I need all the versions. That's why I just projected the Windows versions also on the screen. Bhavana Gupta 2010 to 2024. Very good. 12, 12R to 16, 19, 22. Bhavana. Akila Windows Server 2012, 12R to 16, 19, 22. Good. Gopi 12, 12R to 2016, 19, 22. Madhu 2010 to 2024, 12, 12R to 16, 19, 22. Imran 16, 19, 22, 12, 12R to. Pardo 12, 12R to 16, 19, 22. Good. Preeti 14.0, 15.0, 16.0. Actually, these are all the, whatever you mentioned, Preeti, those are all the SQL Server build numbers. Those are all the not Windows Server build numbers. Okay, so fine. Preeti, is it clear, Preeti? SQL Server and Windows Server. Is everyone clear, guys, the difference between SQL Server and Windows Server? Okay, good. And then Hakila. Okay, fine. Thank you, guys. Okay, as as we discussed, all of the answers are correct. Okay, I don't see any wrong answer. Good, guys. Good, good. Okay, so nice. I was happy, and I'm happy also. Fine. So now let's continue the discussion, guys. So the next topic is bill number. Bill number. I'll tell you how to check the version, where to check the version. Okay, I'll tell you all these things. In GUI, how to check, in command, how to check, I'll tell you guys. Don't worry. Okay, fine. So first let me open SQL Server, guys. You will have an idea. We are discussing since almost 4 hours. We don't know how SQL Server look like and all. Okay, let me open the SQL Server. For that, I have to use one tool called Management Studio. As I have already installed Management Studio. Just now, for now, I am just showing you just interface. I am showing you in the local laptop. So tomorrow, once we started setting up the things, okay, tomorrow onwards, we are going to set up the Windows server, right? So virtual machines will create on top of that Windows servers. Then I'll show you like setup server building and all. So now for just to show you how SQL Server look like, I'm using the Management Studio. So Management Studio is already installed in my laptop, so that's why I'm able to open it. But in your organization, you have to install Management Studio. I'll tell you that is a part of the course how to install Management Studio and all. What is the use of the Management Studio, advantage of the Management Studio, all these things will be covered, guys. Okay, so before connecting to the SQL Server, what we can do, we have to check services are up and running or not. This also will be covered, don't worry. Okay, this also will be covered, how to check the services and all. If the SQL services are not running, I cannot connect to SQL Server, right? So that's why I have to check the SQL services. How to check the services they are running or not, I'll tell you. There is a separate session after SQL Server installation. Okay, the service is in stopped state. It is not running. If it is running, it will show you like this: running, 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 and all. I cannot see any status here, so it is in stopped state. So I'm just starting to connect to the SQL Server, guys. Again, this also will be discussed after the SQL Server installation. Post installation steps will cover all these things, so don't worry. Without running, I cannot connect to the SQL Server. So that's why if it has to run means I have to start the SQL Server. Now it was started. See, the status is changed to running. Okay, just refresh it once. Fine. Now go to Management Studio, give the server name and forget about all these things. There is a separate session on each and every component, so don't worry. So now I am trying to connect. to the SQL Server. So now it is connecting to the SQL Server. This is how SQL Server look like, guys. This is where you have to work. This is your work area. This is the platform. Okay, so that is called SQL Server. And using this is the SQL Server. Actual SQL Server is this. Using this interface Management Studio, we will connect to the SQL servers, guys. Okay, and then we can see these are the, you can see this is the server name, and then you can see different objects under this server, databases, security. Okay, different objects. See, these are the databases, how it look like, guys. Okay, databases and all, and security, permissions, logins and all. You can see here logins and all. Only these people can connect to my SQL server. Okay, whoever there in this list, only these people can connect to the SQL server. See, my account is there, right? Desktop. See, that's why, see here, I was connected using this account. This account is already there. If someone by mistake, if anyone deleted this account, I cannot connect, guys. When I'm trying to connect, I'll get the error here. When I click connect, if my account is not there, I'll get the login failure error, 18456 error. I'll tell you how to troubleshoot and all. So this is how server look like, guys. Here, if you see the server name, it is actually having 3 parts. Can anyone tell me what and all 3 parts you can see on the server name? Can you guess it? Guess it, guys. Guess it.
It's a bill number, SQL Server bill number.
Bill number.
Before the bill number, what you can
Instance
see?
name.
Very good. Next, after the bill number, okay, fine. Okay, so this server name contains 3 parts. First part is instance name. Instance means server only. SQL server name. Second part is bill number. BUILD. Bill number. Okay, bill number. Third part is your login. Using which account you connected to the SQL server. This is the login name. Using which account you connected to the SQL server is called login name. Okay, very good, Madhu. So now instance name, server name, you know, and the login name, you know. The one thing that you have to concentrate is this number, 15.0.2000.5. This is called bill number. What is that, guys? Bill number. How many parts are there in the bill number? How many parts total?
3 parts.
4 parts.
3.
4 parts.
4 parts.
Four.
4
4
parts. Okay. 4 parts. In the bill number, we'll have 4 parts. In the bill number, we will have 4 parts. What are those 4 parts? Major version dot minor version dot revision history. Actual bill number dot revision history, guys. This is the complete bill number definition. Okay, so first 2, major version and minor version, will help you to identify the version of the SQL server. Okay, the first 2 parts will help you to identify the version of the SQL server. The second 2 parts will help you to check whether server is patched or not, whether any updates applied on the server or not. First 2 parts will tell you the SQL server version. Next 2 parts will tell you whether any updates, whether your SQL server is updated or not. Okay, the 2 parts, the next 2 parts will tell you whether the SQL server is updated, whether it patches applied or not. Okay, whether any updates applied or not on the SQL server, it will tell you, guys. Now let's come back to this notepad. Now come here, go up. If you install SQL Server 2000, what is this, guys? 8.0. So your bill number starts with 8.0 here. Clear? If you install, if you connected to SQL Server 2000, the bill number starts with dash.
8.0.
8.0. If you install SQL Server 2005, the bill number starts with
9.0.
9.0.
install 2008, the bill number starts with
10.0.
10.0.
install SQL Server 2008 R2, bill number starts with
10.50.
if you install 2012, bill number starts with
11.0.
2014 starts with 2014 starts with You have to add one number. That's it. If you see numbers, you can remember
12
11,
dot
12,
0.
13, 14. SQL Server 2016 starts with
Dot 0. 13 dot
SQL
0.
Server 2017 starts with
14 dot 0.
SQL Server 2019 starts with
15 dot 0.
SQL Server 2022 starts with
16 dot 0.
So now tell me which version of SQL Server it is.
2019.
2019.
19.
Very good.
2019.
SQL Server 2019, guys. Now is it clear? The second part almost zeros only. Major version only you have to concentrate. Minor version is almost zeros. So only for 2008 R2 we have minor version 50. For remaining all versions are having the zeros only. So now is it clear, guys, how to identify which version of SQL Server that you are working? You cannot see directly like this in the GUI. There is one more way called query. Okay, click on new query. I'll explain what you have to do while running the queries, what and all precautions that you have to take while running the queries and all. I'll explain, don't worry. So I'm just trying to check the version of the SQL Server. How to check? I want to see the version. C means select query. At version, select at the rate version, or print at the rate version also you can give print. So, and this is the query to see the version of the SQL Server. If I want to execute this query, there is a parse button. I'll tell you again, don't worry, during the SSMS class I'll tell you. So there is an execute button. Parse will check whether the query is correct or not. Execute button will help you to get the output to execute the query. Click on execute button. You can see here. Which version, guys, it is? Which version it is?
19.
2019. You can see like this 2019 RTM. I'll tell you what is this RTM and all in the next class. 15.0. Same number, whatever you can see here, the same number you can see here also. Okay, so build number actually is like having four parts: major version dot minor version dot actual build number dot revision history. So first two numbers, especially yes, please.
X64.
Leave it. I'll tell you everything. Okay, don't worry. Okay, so whatever we'll go in a flow. Okay, so it's not like randomly we'll discuss on some other things and all. Fine. So now, guys, you are able to understand the use of build number. Everyone, is it clear? So tomorrow you will have a quiz on these build numbers also. So you have to remember three things: SQL Server versions, build numbers, Windows Server versions. You have to remember all these three. Tomorrow there will be a quiz before
Anna,
starting the session. Yes,
beside
please
bill
tell.
number, what is that 160,
I'll tell
150?
you. See everything. I'll tell you, Akila. You don't worry. Slowly we'll go. I will not leave. Okay, whatever I am projecting on the screen, everything will be discussed. Time has to come. That time I'll tell you. Okay, guys, is it clear? Are we good now about the bill numbers?
Yeah.
Are we good? So
Yeah.
always, guys, you have to remember this. You cannot able to run the select query every time. If your manager comes and asks, okay, let me run select query, let me see the version. You cannot say like that. By just looking at the first number, you should be able to tell the version of the SQL Server. That is very, very important. As a DBA, daily will connect to the servers. Okay, if you cannot depend on the query which version it is, just this version will help you to find out the updates, if any updates applied or not, like service packs or cumulative updates, that will help you. Okay, generally no need to run this query. By just looking the first number itself, the first part itself, we should be able to understand. Okay, guys, now tomorrow take a snap of this again. Take a snap and try to remember the things. Tomorrow morning again we will discuss all these things, guys. Windows, I mean, we will not discuss. There will be a quiz, small quiz, so we will discuss. Okay, there I'll ask questions on the SQL Server versions and on what Windows servers I can install SQL servers, what are the build numbers for a specific version, and also that will be discussed.
So
Okay,
these,
small topic. Yes,
you know,
please.
this is asked in interviews as well, like which version we can install or not, or it's just like.
No. The answer is no. You are going to, okay, put at least 4 5 years of experience. So in the interviews, they will not ask, say, tell me SQL versions, tell me build numbers, tell me Windows Server versions. They will ask you like on what and all SQL Server versions you work. In your organization, what is your infrastructure? What and all Windows servers you are using? They will not ask you, tell me Windows Server versions and all. Okay? They will not ask what is the build number for SQL Server 2019. No, nothing like that. Nothing. In case if they get doubt, they might ask, but generally 4-5 years people, they will not ask these questions. Okay, guys? Are we good?
Yeah, but
On
they
all
are
this?
used everyday scenario. They are used in everyday scenario. That's what you mean.
Of course, yeah. Every day we'll connect to Windows servers and SQL servers, guys. So we should know the Windows Server version SQL. If suddenly someone comes to your desk and hey, can you please install SQL Server 2016 on Windows Server 2003? You cannot say yes, I'll install. I'll let you know once it is finished. You cannot give the promise. You should be able to immediately tell, hey, SQL Server 2016 and Windows Server 2003, there is a lot of gap between Windows Server 2003 and SQL Server 2016. So it is not possible to install SQL Server 2016 on Windows Server 2003. Can tell that. So for that purpose, otherwise no interviewer will ask all these questions and all. These are very basics that you should be go thorough with this all these versions and all. Okay?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
One
fine.
last thing is that when you log in into Visual Studio, like Management Studio,
Hmm.
you didn't enter any password or anything like that in a real.
I will tell you. That also that comes under security. Shanmugh, without giving password, you are connecting, right? Then where is the security? It is not asking any password. Where is the security? I'll tell you. This will be explained with the help of diagrams in the security classes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's discuss a very small topic called platform dependent and independent. So after that, we'll close the session for today. Right. So platform dependent. What is meant by platform dependent and platform independent, guys? Tell me. Platform dependent and platform independent.
Like few
Is it
applications.
OS dependent?
Hmm. Very good.
Any SQL
So
version can install on any Windows or Linux.
very good.
Like
Very good. Okay, not any SQL service will install on any of the Windows and Linux. It is partially correct. Let's discuss, guys. So now,
oh,
guys,
okay.
until SQL Server 2016, like until 2016, you can install SQL servers only on Windows operating systems. Means there is a dependency on platform. What platform you have to use? Only Windows operating system. We have different types of platforms. We have Windows operating systems. We have Linux operating systems mainly in the market. Windows and Linux operating systems. Red Hat, Ubuntu. These are all the different operating systems, guys. Okay, so until SQL Server 2016, again I am saying until SQL Server 2016 means all these versions I should be able to install only on Windows Server. Windows servers means Windows operating systems. It can be desktop operating system, it can be server operating system. Is it clear, guys? Everyone, until SQL Server 2016, I can install SQL Server only on Windows operating
Windows.
systems only. In Windows, again, we have two types, Windows Desktop and Windows Server. So on both Windows Desktop and servers, we can install SQL Server. From 2017 onwards, due to the competition, because Oracle will run on Linux, Linux is completely free. So platform side, they are not paying any money. But in the Windows side, for Windows Server operating system, you have to pay a lot of money, which is costly. That is why people will go to the other database technologies. So from 2017 onwards, what Microsoft did, chalo, let's install Linux also. Let's try to install SQL. Let's try to make this as a compatible version on Linux also. So 2017, 2019, 2022. These three you can install on Windows plus Linux also if you want. It's not like only Linux. If you want, you can install it on Windows Server operating systems. Mostly people will use on Windows operating systems only. If you want, still you can install these products on Linux operating systems also. Clear, guys? Is it clear now? that is called platform independent. So up to 2016, it is a platform dependent. That means you only on Windows servers, Windows operating systems, you can install SQL Server. Only on Windows operating systems, either Windows desktop or Windows server operating system, you can install the SQL Server. So up to 2016, either you can, generally we don't use Windows desktops, only Windows servers only will use. Then from 2017 onwards, so that is why as we can install only on Windows operating system, that is why these versions are called platform dependent. They are going to be dependent on that particular platform. Which platform? Windows platform only. From 2017 onwards, you can install SQL servers either on Windows or Linux also. That's why we'll call it as a platform independent. Platform dependent, platform independent, guys. From 2017 onwards, it's a platform independent. Means 2017 you can use on regular, okay, what I can say, Windows operating systems, and 2017 I can still install on the Linux operating system, like that 2017, 2019, 2022. So you can install these SQL servers either on Windows or on Linux. So there is no dependency of platform. So that is why this is called platform independent, guys. Clear, everyone?
Yeah,
Are
all
we
good.
good?
One thing I want to ask you, I don't know whether it's a stupid question, but what about the
No,
other,
no,
there
no.
other and other Windows, any other servers available where, because there we mentioned two, any Mac or IBM, or they have
No,
got
no, no,
any?
no, 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 no. Till now, there is no SQL servers on Mac, IBM, DB2 on. I mean to say the platforms and all. No. For now, we can install SQL servers on Windows operating systems. Okay, if it is the old versions. If it is from 2017, Windows operating systems, and even you can also use Linux operating systems also. So there is no dependency on the platform. Any platform you can use. So that's why platform independent.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, guys, are we good? So tomorrow again, I don't know whether you took the snap or not. Just if you want, you can take the snap again. Tomorrow morning there is a quiz. You should be able to answer the things, guys, properly. Okay. So that's it for today, and use the same link for tomorrow. It will start at 7 a.m. IST for
One
US
last thing,
people.
Shanu, I have got in my mind is about the Windows server. You didn't write down the build number and other stuff as well. So you,
Windows servers, see, Windows servers, we don't need the build numbers. We are going to take care of only SQL servers. Windows servers, what kind of build number that is, that will be headache of the Windows team. Okay, as an application, as we are supporting SQL servers, so you have to take control of the SQL servers only. So Windows server build numbers, we don't need it.
thank you. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay, okay, guys, that's it for tonight. Tomorrow morning 7 a.m. IST for Indians. For US people tonight 9:30 p.m. EST. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good night and a good day. Bye.
And advance happy Ugadi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys, thank you
Thank
all,
you very much.
and advance happy Ugadi, guys. Enjoy happy Ugadi, happy like this new year. At least it will help you to turn your okay life and all. Okay, so happy Ugadi, guys. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.